Welcome to Just Hair Me Out, a podcast about love, life, and hair. I'm Barbara. I've spent over 38,000 hours coloring hair.
Hi, I'm Demetra, and I've spent over 1,000 weeks with scissors in my hands.
With 50 clients a week in our chairs and 22 years on our feet, doing hair is not our hobby, it's our hustle. We've navigated salon politics and then opened salon suites of our own in 2020. We choose dogs over kids, skinny margs over beer, and we've only fired 3 clients each. Welcome back. Today we want to talk about blowouts versus color finishes, how we dry your hair at the salon. Mm-hmm. So this was a topic I really wanted to talk about because I feel like it's a little misunderstood. So as a colorist, this is really important if you're, I suppose, a departmentalized stylist, where when I color someone's hair and they're not getting a haircut, a color finish is what you would describe as they're getting color and then you're going to dry it real quick so they don't have to leave with wet hair, unless, of course they wanted to. So a color finish is a quick dry. There's no hot tools, meaning you're not ironing, like flat ironing or curling the hair. And it should take probably 15 minutes or so. And it's always really important to start in the front, which is the opposite of how you are taught to do a blowout, a professional blowout. You start in the back. But you want to start in the front because you also want someone to see the color right away. And if there's any confusion about the color, to discuss it before you perfectly blow dry all the hair. And how I was taught is also never to use clips, to just section off the hair, because it just takes too long. So that is what I would consider complimentary, meaning it's not like it's included in the price because it's not, a fancy service. It is to see the color and not necessarily as fancy and perfect as a blowout. So have you seen that sort of thing in the salons you've worked at, Demetra?
Oh, yeah. Because I was always departmentalized, and what that means is you have someone that does your hair color and you have someone that is a stylist, okay? Hairstylist. And that means the colorist does just the color. The hairstylist does your hair cutting and blowouts. So what happens is a lot of people think, well, why is my blowout not included? I actually had this conversation with a client the other day that she was saying how she gets upset where she goes for her color because they don't dry her hair. They want to charge her $55 for a blowout. And I'm like, well, but that's a totally different person. Why should the stylist do it for free? You're basically asking someone else to do it for free for you. Yeah. It's departmentalized. You're going to this person because they are a specialist. Your hair colorist is a specialist. She's not meant to give you that perfect blowout. And if she's doing it, it's complimentary. Because she says sometimes the girl can blow it out for her and she'll just do it really quick. And she's like, oh, it's, she's like, well, then I would rather pay for it. So someone to do it nice. I'm like, well, that's the difference. And you have to book that appointment. And there is, also someone that does both. You could be going to someone that does your color and your cut. Now that's different. Like for me, I only have a handful of clients that I do single process on. And that's just because they're longtime clients. I am not a colorist by all means. I do not blow out their hair at all unless they pay extra for the blowout. It's a separate service. And then you're getting a full blowout. I mean, time is money, people, too. We, at the end of the day, we're in business, but when people make comments like that, like, oh, I can't believe she charged me for a blowout. I don't understand why I just spent $350 on my hair color. Why aren't they giving me my blowout for free? I said, well, they're not because you're going to a place where the stylist gets paid differently than your colorist. Now what you're doing, you're asking someone to do it for free because she wouldn't get paid. So as what you're doing, you're just a colorist. You're just doing it as a finish so your clients can see it. You don't want them leaving with wet hair, so they're not going to get this professional blowout. You're doing it as a complimentary. That still takes time for you. You're not making any money on that extra 15, 20, 30 minutes to blow out your client. So people have to understand that you're still giving them extra time that you're not getting paid on.
Right. And if you think about it, if someone is charging like $50 for a professional blowout, if you are getting color and it costs $100, that means the color would be $50 if you're expecting to get a free blowout with it.
Yeah. Doesn't
Anyway,
make any sense.
and a lot of salons will say a color finish is a quick dry, or say language like your natural texture. And what they're really saying is, if you have curly hair, we're not going to blow it out to be straight. You
Right.
know,
They're
like,
just going to diffuse it just to make it a little dry so you can see.
yeah. And also,
Yeah.
like, if it's cold outside, nobody wants to send you out with wet hair unless that's your jam and you came with a hat. I wanted to bring it up because I think people get confused when you charge for color if they want to leave wet with wet hair. Sometimes I get questions like, will it cost less if I don't? And so for my purposes, no, it doesn't cost less.
Well, I get the same questions, Barbara. I've had people
yeah?
say to me, like, you know, I know you don't have time to blow it out because I was late. So you can just cut me, I'll leave with wet hair. But is it going to be the same price? And I'm like, yes. My haircuts start at $125. The blowout is complimentary in that service when you're getting a haircut. It's not, $55 of that is the blowout and $75 is what my haircut costs. No.
Yeah.
Like if you decide to leave with wet hair, it's still the same price. That's just being complimentary because I want to see my work.
Yeah.
You know, that's all.
Well, and with a lot of hairstylists, especially if you're independent, their prices, just keep in mind, they're going to be based on, you know, an hour and 15 minutes of my time. So if you show up 20 minutes late, I'm going to do for you whatever I can in the remaining time. It's kind of like how when you go to get a massage. Like if you were late.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what, too? What's interesting to me on that is I know people are going to say, well, why do it that way? Just include it in the price and just do it. Well, guess what? A lot of people don't want to spend the $55, $75 on a blowout if they're coming in every 3 weeks for a color. So that makes it more affordable. You know, some people get mad and say, just add it in the price. But in reality, if you add it into the price every time, someone's not going to want to do it per se. Like I have a lot of clients, they come in, they get their color done. They're like, I'm running straight for tennis. They leave with their hair wet. They want it wet because they don't want to fix it till later. So why would I charge her that extra $60 now? You know?
Yeah.
So it does work for everybody. I think that's a way for those people that are like, oh, just include it in the price. No, you know what? I think that's nice of us to actually give them the option. And I keep an extra blow dryer. If you want to blow dry your own hair and not pay for it and not leave with wet hair, by all means, go ahead. Blow out your own hair.
And there are salons where they have a dry it yourself area.
I had a blowout area in my salon when I had it.
What is tricky for me is now that I'm in a salon suite, I'm in a one-person room. And so I can't do that because I'm expecting the next person to come in. So
it's hard.
You know, it doesn't work out as well. But anyway, and I would say like a professional blowout, when you say, Demetra, that it like you start in the back, you're usually sectioning it. Is that your jam?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're being more precise.
Very, very precise. Of course, I'm actually it's not like I'm just blow drying it to get their hair dry. I'm putting a style into it.
Oh, yeah. Because I've been doing it so long, I have become pretty fast at blow drying. So, but it is for speed, not for, you know, it is the most perfect blow dry. But if it takes me 15 minutes to get their hair dry, within that 15 minutes, if I can actually smooth it and round brush it and make it really nice, for sure I'm going to do that. It's just, you know, it's not.
You're doing the best
expected.
you can in that time. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's easy to fall into a pattern, and then people come to expect it. And then they're like, well, why am I not getting XYZ? Whereas that was kind of a perk. And it's hard to tell somebody, like, oh, just so you know, I shouldn't have done all that. And now I'm charging for it.
See, that's the problem when we go above and beyond and we do have a little bit of extra time, because we love our clients. And if we have extra time, sure, we're going to go above and beyond, and we typically don't charge more for it. But usually when you are booked for your scheduled time. We do exactly what we need to do to make you look and feel fabulous. But if we do have extra time, and so do you, we'll do that for you. But the problem with that, when you do things like that, then there comes an expectation of, well, why didn't you do that this time? Why isn't that? And why,
Yeah.
So you're just better off not doing it at all. Just give the service and bon voyage or whatever. However,
Bon voyage.
Wait, what?
Bon voyage. Arrivederci. Bon voyage.
What the hell?
Bon voyage means bye.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm trying to say. But you know what? Ciao. Ciao, Bella. Ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
I'm going to stick to my 1/8 Italian roots and say ciao.
Ciao. While we're on the topic of blow drying, I just wanted to say two things. Okay. First, there are multiple ways to achieve the same look. And I just want to put this out there, since this is like for everyone to know who goes to a salon. It is frustrating when people have a specific way that they think their hair should be blow dried, and you know that you can achieve a look for them, but the last person that did their hair didn't do it like that. I have an example. Something that is kind of trendy, I would say, is to have a blowout where the stylist is very elaborate with it and has like 10 round brushes and leaves them in their hair. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I hate when they do that.
I do too. So they put it, like, roll it up and then like leave the brush in there and then get another brush and go.
Remind me to go back and tell you why I dislike that. Go ahead, finish.
Okay. But the idea is, I mean, technically that the hair would cool down and stay into that state better. But it's a lot of bread and circus, I would say, or, like smoke and mirrors. You can achieve the same things without, or if someone's, used to having rollers in their hair, you can achieve that look with an iron, with a round brush. There's multiple ways. And sometimes people say, oh, I have to have rollers. I don't have rollers. So, it's one of these things where people get a little boxed in to how they think it should be done. And I think that if you want to go to someone who leaves the brushes in and gives you a little bit of a show, that's really cool. But other people can do that for your hair without doing it that way.
Right. And I just want to circle back on the leaving the brushes in the hair thing. Not everyone's hair can handle that. Okay, first of all, someone's hair that's very fine and fragile, let's say heavily highlighted, and you're putting in, most of these brushes are very lightweight, but you're putting these brushes in their hair, you're putting so much strain on that hair. I can't tell you how many people have come to me from blowout bars, okay, all of them. Oh, I was just at the blowout bar, and this is how they did it. I'm like, well, that explains all the breakage. And I think the type of hair that can handle it is coarse, thick hair, and that's great. Heavy hair, put those brushes in, let them sit, great. But you have to know what type of people and hair texture to do it on. My one client came to me from someone, and she's like, every time she had the roller in my hair, now she's like, it got stuck. She would try that, and it would get stuck.
Oh, no.
When this woman came to me now, she has 3 times the amount more hair. Because that woman, I'm not going to say names, I know exactly who this is, kept putting these brushes in her hair. First of all, she didn't know how to put them into the hair to make them stick correctly. So then when she would try to get them out, it was ripping her hair out. So this woman had, the only plus was she had great lift everywhere. Because underneath she had all this broken hair. But she has 3 times more hair after a year coming to see me. Silky, shiny hair.
Nice.
Kind of crazy. So just know, people, just because they're giving you all the bells and whistles, that doesn't mean shit. That's just like, again, a show.
Last thing I wanted to say is to pay attention to your hot tools at home. I was just thinking about this when I'm thinking about blowouts and how we do it at home and how we do it at the salon. So if you're a hairstylist, you really want to pay attention as well. If the cord on your blow dryer or whatever hot tool gets really mangled, you got to throw that out or have it fixed. I just wanted to say, I have seen firsthand a blow dryer that was old and jankety being used as a color finish blow dryer in a salon, And I mean, I get it, but it had been dropped a few times. It lived its whole life. It was done, but people kept using it. And someone was blow drying a client's hair. A fireball came out.
That happened to me once.
When it dies, the fireball comes out and burns the shit out of your hair. It's crazy. Don't wait for the fireball.
That happened to me while I was doing a client back when I was first starting out, like 20 years ago. I didn't burn her hair. It actually sparked more like at the bottom of the cord. So it scared me because it was near my hand. But that's not the first time that happened. I remember, and I always wondered because that had never happened at the next salon I went to that I was at for like 7 years. It never happened there, but it always happened at my first salon. Something always made me wonder if like the wiring was faulty in that place too. There was just too much electricity going through there too. Something to think about.
The last place I worked kept having electrical problems, and I think it wasn't wired properly. And that is another thing that will blow up your blow dryers. It's crazy.
And, I mean, not that we're electricians or anything, but if that keeps happening, maybe call an electrician for your house. Maybe we might keep you from getting your house burned down. We're giving some great advice today, aren't we?
We are. And I know I said that was the last thing, but now I have a last thing.
Okay.
So when my brother and sister-in-law got married, they had a couple different receptions because my sister-in-law is from a smaller town in Canada. And so we had a reception there, and I went, of course, and I was going to blow dry. I was doing her hair and makeup for the wedding. So I was trying to redo it exactly the same as it was in all the pictures for this secondary wedding reception. I digress. So I was at this really cute B&B, and in a little town. It looked like the house had been there for a couple 100 years. Blow dryers are often really high voltage. I was blow drying my own hair before she even showed up at the hotel, and I blew the circuit. The entire hotel was out of it, like the power went out because of my blow dryer.
They didn't have like a backup generator or anything?
I think it was out for like an hour.
Oh, okay.
But it was like, do you know what I mean? Like a motel, you know, like I don't know. It was very homey,
right? Because it was old and Well, that's more of a reason why they should like invest in a generator, especially if they're hosting parties and things like that. See, I'm just so like always thinking about businesses. I should just like go in to businesses and say, okay, people, you need X, Y, and Z. Now pay me for my ideas.
Consultant. That's what you are.
I should be a consultant. I can consult almost on everything. I'm extremely intelligent. People just don't know. I just play it off.
Do. We know you're smart.
You guys, I can walk in a room. I'm that woman that billionaire is going to bring in the room. Not only is she gorgeous, but she could carry herself on the conversation. I will touch base on every single conversation, and I will chime in, and I will know exactly what the fuck they're talking about. And if I don't, I'll figure it out. I'm a nice arm piece.
Yeah. And you could bounce a quarter off that ass too. Oh, she almost choked on her drink.
Well, now I need to get back in the gym to, keep that going.
Please. All right,
thanks,
girl.
Barbara.
All right. Well, thanks for chiming in today, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks. See you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe or follow. And please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Lastly, follow us on social media for clips of past and future episodes. All our accounts are listed in the show notes below. Thanks so much for listening.